Hello, everybody. Today we are going to review the movie Bruce Almighty. Now, this movie came out in 2003. Oh my god, that's hard to believe that it was that long ago. What was that? 2020, 19 years ago? Oh my god. Whew. So, yeah, you can tell. You can tell I'm showing my age there a little bit because I would have been 10 years old when this movie first came out. So that's crazy to think about. But it is. Jim Carrey is one of my favorite comedians. I don't want to say he is a good actor, so I guess I could probably put him in my top 10 list of actors for sure. But he is definitely he is just a comedic genius, and he just seems like a very humble and just down to earth person in general. And he just brings such a character to every performance he does, whether it's serious or whether it's comedic. Like, he just knows how to be the character that he needs to be for whatever he is doing. So he's just an incredible actor. And this movie, now mind you, I haven't seen it in quite some time, and I know that Steve Carell made an appearance in it. And then I don't know how much later down the road Evan Almighty came out, but it wasn't nearly as good as this one, and I'm not really sure it was even supposed to be connected in any way or not, but I'm gonna actually look that up just to see, because it came out in 2007, so it wasn't too much farther, I guess, away from when the original came out. And I guess technically it was supposed to be connected because Morgan Freeman was in this one as well, and he also played God, so I'm kind of confused as to the story there, as to why all of a sudden, I guess maybe Evan's life was in shambles. But, so this movie kind of teaches you that you shouldn't take advantage of the things that you have, because you'll start to lose the things that you really actually do care about. And that was really shown throughout this film, because Bruce only really seems to care about his own life and his own kind of, I guess, accomplishments, and he's not really taking into account his girlfriend, Grace, at the time. What she wants. It all seems to be kind of leaning more towards about what he wants and what he's doing, and getting this anchor job and never being quite good enough, and blah 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 blah. And he has a freak out about it, having a mediocre life, and obviously he is not really thinking about the things that he should be and taking care of the things he should be, which is mostly just himself and Grace, and not really worrying about the material things like his job. He could easily just go get a job somewhere else as an anchor instead of the place he's working. Now, I mean, eventually he gets to a point where he is actually paged by God, and God gives him all his powers, and so he then becomes God, and he kind of takes advantage of the power for sure. Not kind of, he does take advantage of the power for sure in order to get the anchor job that he wanted. Uh, he thinks that he's doing the right things for Grace, but it ends up just being the wrong things because he's so focused on himself still, and now that he has all this power, he's pushed her even farther away. And it gets to the point where he almost dies. But I guess God gave him a second chance, so he does end up getting Grace back in the end, which, I mean, was good for him because he realized that power was not everything, and that he just needed to go about his life, because God actually does say to him at one point that he can't control everything, that miracles come from us, like who we are as people. So, abusing power is not a miracle, but I might not be quoting this quite properly, but like a soccer mom working two jobs and still having the time to drive her kids to soccer games or practice and so on and so forth is a miracle, because that means she's dedicated to more than one thing, and she's not taking away from her kids being successful too. She's kind of paying it forward, I guess, is the message there. So Bruce does eventually learn that. Unfortunately, it takes him quite a while to learn that, because he's using his power to get all the things that he wanted originally. And it ends up backfiring on him, because he ends up, I don't want to say cheated, because he just kissed the other girl that he was working with. He just happens to get caught by Grace in the moment when it happens, and I think she kind of knew what she was doing, because I believe she probably saw Grace at the party there show up, and she knew that that would end up breaking them up, so she just went for it, because she obviously liked Bruce in the from the very beginning of the movie. It was kind of obvious that she had a thing for him. So so this movie stars Jim Carrey, Jennifer Aniston, and Morgan Freeman, as well as Steve Carell, and I guess that's pretty much the main cast. I guess Catherine Bell was Susan Ortega, who was the other news anchor with them on the show, and that was the girl that he ends up kissing later on in the movie. And then he realizes that Grace prays every night, and then when he asks for forgiveness from God, that's when he gets hit by a transport and dies. But God does give him a second chance, because he just said that he wants Grace to be happy and find somebody that cares for her the same way he does in that moment right then. So God sends him back down to earth, and Grace then forgives him for what he's done, and I think they do end up getting engaged or married, I guess, but it doesn't actually show that scene. It just shows him finally going back out and just doing what he was doing before, with the kind of lame, boring news stories, and he gives Evan Baxter his job as an actual news anchor, so that was nice of him. So he does forgive and forget, and kind of learn to just go with the flow, and obviously he's still an incredible, like, out on the field news reporter. He doesn't necessarily need the news anchor job. Now, there were bloopers in the credits, and oh my god, just Jim Carrey going out of character is just absolutely hilarious. It almost seems like even when he is out of character, he's still very much in character. So I would say that although he did talk about, like, when he was, I know a lot of people couldn't handle it, and he was kind of showing his true colors out in the world, and he was just saying, like, even Jim Carrey is just kind of a character that he's developed over the years. And I think it's kind of an interesting outlook on life. Like our personalities are just kind of, our personality is a characteristic of us, right? So we are just kind of forming characters of ourselves. I think that was maybe kind of the message he was trying to deliver, and people thought he was, I guess, going crazy, but I think people just couldn't handle him actually being himself. So it is kind of sad, but so he kind of just went back to the normal, quirky kind of personality that he was on TV. I would actually like to sit down and talk with him in real life, because I think he's just an absolute genius no matter what he does or what project he's working on. He just fits every character so well, so I have to give him kudos for that. And what else can I say? Like, some of the scenes in this movie, especially the scene where he's on the Maid of the Mist, if you've ever seen this movie, oh my god, just that whole scene where he's asking the girl about throwing the pearl off the Titanic and leaving Leo DiCaprio to drown while she was on the door, because he just realizes that his competitor Evan Baxter has gotten a news anchor job, so he just goes off on TV completely, and it was just absolutely hilarious. And him having the powers and abusing them, I mean, some of it I understand as to why he did what he did, and the stuff he was doing to Grace. I mean, I get that he was kind of trying to fix things in his own life a little bit too, but he can't just focus on what he needs. Now it's everybody across the world, and he's not the only important person. And then at the end of the movie, it's revealed that the homeless man, near the very beginning, that he tries to save, ends up being actually God in disguise. So I guess God kind of gave him the powers because he believed that Bruce was a good person, and that he could actually do some good and make some good changes in the world. Which I guess he kind of ended up doing, even though he had to realize that, even though he had to die to realize that not everything was just about him. So he ended up doing good after he had had his near-death experience. So I think it's kind of like a self-realization for him and everybody else. Kind of this movie. I think the message is don't think that you can play God, because it'll always come back to bite you in the ass, I guess is the best way to put it. Yeah, karma will come around to get you, and you'll end up just being alone, because nobody will want to be around you if you just abuse power constantly. So that is the moral of this movie. Now, I'm going to give this movie a rating of an 8 out of 10, for obviously for nostalgia factors, and the comedic value in this movie is just absolutely fantastic. If you get through this movie without laughing, kudos to you, because I could never do it. Doesn't matter how many times I see this. There's just scenes in this that just make you bust a gut. So, highly recommend going to watch it if you haven't ever seen it. And it is, I would say, yeah, it's probably, it is a family movie. I would say you can sit down and watch this with your kids, and there's really nothing, well, there might be a few swear words in it, but other than that, there isn't really isn't really anything too offensive in this movie, I wouldn't say, that kids couldn't watch it for. So, anyway, oh yeah, I forgot to say in my other review from today, or whenever these ones go up, I guess I'm filming more than one review on the same day, so sorry for saying that, but yeah, these videos might not even go up in the same day. But when I was filming my review from today, or on this day, I guess, I forgot to say, as always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I guess that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.